a solar project intervenor resolution 16-21. And that's the word number resolution 16-21. The Board of Trustees intervene on our signing board case number 20-1679. BTN in regards to the Pleasant Prairie Solar Project. This resolution allows the board representative township and its residents and compromise participation in any proceedings for our signing.
I move that the board adopt resolution 1621, a resolution to intervene in the Ohio Power City Board case number 20-1679-EL-BGN regarding the application filed by Pleasant Prairie Solar Energy LLC.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Kennedy?
Aye.
Yes, sir.
So that's everything on the agenda. So we'll move on to old business. Is there any old business? Anybody online for anything? Nobody online. Okay, we'll move on to new business.
Ron would like to talk.
Yeah. Got the floor.
Rod Pritchard, 955 on Ann Road. I want to thank the trustees for the resolution for the intervention on the Ohio Power Sitting Board on behalf of the Prairie Township. I would like to point out, however, that we have not had any public meetings regarding the township's position on this issue. And I think it's imperative that the trustees sit down with the residents to be able to understand what our position is regarding this, and that we need to do that immediately in order to be able to meet the timeline as required by the Ohio Power City Commission to establish a position as to what kind of intervention we're going to be doing and the exact issues that need to be brought up by the township during that intervention. And so I think that while resolution is great, it puts us in position to be there at the table, which is what we need to be. We don't want to give up our opportunity to tell them exactly what our objections are, anything else. So while the resolution is great, we need to step forward and meet with the residents now and decide how we're going to do this. Yes.
So I've said it a couple of times publicly,
Yeah.
that I'm trying to stay neutral. And
I understand.
so, and there's a number of reasons for that, but and I'm not privy to any of the information that you've had when you've had group meetings or that, but it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that should people be going to Infinergy with whatever demands they have or what they would like to see?
No.
You're
I mean,
saying
quite
no?
frankly, the Infinergy good neighbor agreements that they've come up with are worthless. They're not recorded, so they're not enforced in any way. So that's one of the issues that we have. You know, we have told them on numerous occasions, you know, we would like to have 100%, for instance, screening on the project. You know, there are issues with the fencing. You know, what's going to happen with the wildlife? There are 100 different things that we need to have addressed. But quite frankly, we don't think would have been addressed. You know, one of the major issues for us is the water issue and how that is addressed. And there's not been a specific plan presented to us to address that. So that's part of our problem with what's going on. Again, you know, I understand you don't want to, you want to kind of stay in neutral on this, but you really can't. You represent us as residents. And you need to understand how we feel. You know, we understand that there's been limitations to our opportunity to meet because of the sunshine law and stuff. You know, but we need to have a formal opportunity to meet with the trustees for this specific purpose, to discuss this, for you to be able to listen to the residents and understand their concerns before we go in there and say one way or another how we feel about the opportunity to go before the Power City Board and present our case. And what is our case going to be then? You know, otherwise the resolution's worthless. You know, unless we know what we're going to be doing going in there. You know, the attorney can write stuff up, but where's he getting that information? Who's it? There was a whole series of things that he has to address when he goes before the Ohio Power City Commission and ways of doing that. Good example was just the one that was just presented by Metro Park Commission, where it laid out all their various concerns. It didn't state a position, it laid out all the various concerns that need to be addressed before this project goes through. And so that's a great example of how it should be presented by either our attorney, you know, whoever's going to actually present that. It should be the township's attorney that actually sends something to the Power City Commission.
Is that the way you understand it?
Yeah, the resolution is submitted tomorrow. Public signing for the end and better to sleep. At this point, there's no timeline to expire. All we need to do is get registered so that we have standing in the mention.
Right.
Having a public hearing. So,
Which is why this resolution is important, but we need to make a decision of how we're going to approach this when if it comes to the point that we need to have go before the Power City Commission. So one of the problems that I have is there are no standards for how you build these projects in the state of Ohio. That's our problem in the state of Ohio. We have no standards for wind generation. We have no standards for these solar projects. And they need, but that's beyond the trustee's ability.
you said water issue, you mean stormwater?
Stormwater. You know, while the county has addressed the issues towards Broad Street, and I know John Galbraith was involved in granting an easement for that project, be able to come across his field. I want to thank him for that. That's going to address some of the issue, but not all of it, because as the water comes south, that's the worst part of it. Thank you.
Hi, I've never been here, so I don't know. Squire Galbraith from 925 Harbor Creek Drive. And I want to just, I guess, first ask you a general question. You know, you're elected to represent the people. And how many people are there in Prairie Township? Roughly.
18,000.
Okay, so 18,000. So 10, 15 people don't like us. Maybe more. But not the majority, not even close to the majority of 18,000. And this will also, not only that, but this also adds significantly to the tax base in the area. Significantly. And I don't know the exact amount, and Energy could probably tell you. But that will help the community. And I would think people would like that. That's one. And I'm not going to get in a tit for tat on every point. But I've spent a lot of time on this. And as, just one thing I just heard of stormwater, concern with stormwater, which is a very valid concern. But it's not going to be any different, I don't think, than it is right now with farming, not only with farming and sod, crop farming and sod. And, with crop farming and sod, the land is vacant or is bare 6 months a year. And that causes for more runoff. So this, you won't have bare ground now. It'll go into the earth. Now, I don't know, I mean, they have an extensive stormwater plan, Invenergy does and they've shown it to the Ohio Power Siting Board, and I'm not familiar with it, but they don't just build something and just because they want to do a solar power plant. And the third thing is the Ohio Power Siting Board, I know for a fact, is one of the most stringent bodies, regulatory bodies in the United States for solar power, to allow solar power. They require, I'm sure you've all read it, but it's like 1,000-page application going into the Ohio Power Siting Board from Invenergy. They've had to do multiple studies. And, the Ohio Power Siting Board has people full-time, as you probably know, full-time, and they're people with advanced degrees and people much smarter than I am studying this. And they, the process takes, 9 months to a year. So they don't, treat it loosely. And there's a lot of questions and a lot of interaction. And I, have been dealing with Invenergy, and they just said, oh yeah, Power Siting Group just came back to me with 50 questions. And that was recent. 50 questions on on what their application says and clarifications. So it's not a rubber stamp at all. So they take a lot of time and effort in reviewing. As I said, it's a 9-month to a year process. And it's not a definite yay or nay or yes. But they obviously take their job very seriously, and it's a, scientific studies go into it, and a lot of thought and effort. I want to say that.
Thank you. And the guy in fact had his hand up first.
January 936 plan. Just Rob, a quick question. How exactly was the resolution drafted? How was it supposed to work with the citing board? Had the lawyer contact the citing board to confirm that resolution was going to actually be approved as is?
Yes, we've had that resolution about 6 weeks. It was written shortly after the application went in. So that whenever the application is approved, we then go to the trustee meeting, get it approved, and then get it submitted, and then it be submitted one after another.
So the citing board would approve that approach to having a split intervention where it's not a unified body, because my understanding is every other body that chooses to intervene, essentially, that's why you have to have representation from a lawyer, because there essentially have to be one fund.
Yeah, you do not have to take a position. All we're on right now is establishing standing, so we have the opportunity to intervene, not taking a position or against or neutral. Submitting that we do want to have a seat at the table, so to speak.
Okay, so then back to Rod's question, then, what was the mechanism that is planned then for you three to then get public input as to direction for the interview, like how, what is, do you have a plan for that yet? Is that going to be, public meetings, or is that going to be, it's basically every individual is supposed to lobby you individually? Present a case to all three individually, and then also, as an extension, you've got one lawyer representing the township being three trustees. That attorney is going to have to balance the desires of the three trustees. Let's say, for example, Mr. Stormont feels strongly compelled with one particular issue. However, Mr. Meltzer feels strongly compelled in an opposite way. So then how is all of that supposed to mesh together? And then he presented the side of it.
That's why the resolution is, so if the three of them do have different opinions, they are each listed as one name on a resolution. So the resolution is each trustee individually as a body, me, and then our one. So there's actually three attorneys that we work with. So the law record is two other attorneys within the firm.
So then how is that not a conflict of interest representing four different possibly people all within the same law firm and all in the same court?
The board of trustees, he's submitting it so that each of them, if they choose to as individuals, have standing as well. There's no conflict of interest. All we want is getting registered, so we don't miss the deadline. And so that then we are able to whatever he brings it, whatever each of that is, they have an ability to state. And if they want to have something from the township as a whole, as we would say, be available as well.
So when it comes time to, I guess I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. When it comes time for examination, cross-examination, let's say Mr. Stormont has been compelled by 300 residents who are for the project because they like the idea of the project. And he would then be arguing for or be in direct opposition to say 20 residents. Then Mr. Schmelzer may be representing saying, we have a large issue with the project. How can one law firm vigorously argue two competing points of view coming from the same house, or do they just wash each other out?
I don't know.
Yes,
You're asking legal questions. There's not an attorney here in the room that I know of.
okay.
Unfair advantage. What I propose is I heard there's enough information here to have a meeting. Now I'd like to talk about that and moving forward. I have not made up my mind one way or another. I read the case. I saw everything you posted on the case. I read the case, and at the end of the day, and I don't know where the end of the day is, what my feeling is what is going to be the best decision for the majority of the people in the township. Now, with that said, I'm willing to listen to everybody, both sides. I'm willing to set up meetings, whatever. But my idea of meeting and what your idea of meeting might be two different things. I think at the end of the day that there's going to be some kind of compromise that everybody agrees to. And I don't know what that compromise is. And if we set up a meeting, I think the most ideal thing would be to include an interview in it. That's just my standing, is that I think at the end of the day that there's going to be compromises made up and down. And at this point, I don't know what our stance is. But I'm willing to set up a meeting and listen.
So I guess, and I'm not a lawyer either, but I'm just trying to use logic, and basically the first question was, okay, has something vetted for deciding if it's going to fly? You're saying yes. So then the next question is just kind of logically, how exactly is that going to work? And if you guys have a plan for any type of meeting going forward, because obviously a compromise is what we're looking for, but we just want to know as citizens and as residents, that the resolution that you guys are voting on and that the path forward is actually going to accomplish that thing. And so it's really not. Say again?
He can't have a meeting.
No, I was talking like meeting, like
Okay.
this way. I mean, to my understanding, you guys can't have a meeting like this. It's publicly announced, there's enough time on, it's open doors. It doesn't, it does business other than just this meeting.
Yeah, you guys have, how many meetings have you guys had? I mean, I've not been approached by anybody that's asking for anything to be specifically introduced to the city board. I haven't, nobody's come up with any other than they don't like the project. Now, I did see all the concerns that Metro Parks had, and they did their job, they did their due diligence, and hopefully all their concerns get addressed. But I haven't been approached by anybody with any concerns other than we don't like this project, we want it stopped.
So again, I guess that is one of the questions. Okay, do you want, is that the goal? Is that the idea? Is that everyone should be approaching each of you individually and making a case and lobbying you individually, as opposed to some other open forum with energy involved? I mean, I'm asking how it's supposed to work. If the resolution passes, let's say that somehow an law firm, how is that communication? Your advice is on, it's supposed to work. Am I supposed to be calling and emailing every single one of you guys individually? Or are you planning meetings? Like, how exactly are we supposed to get that information? According to plan, how are we supposed to do that? Is that what we're saying right now? Is individual lobbying, email, phone calls, all three of you individually?
That's the way it's done for any other issue in the township. If you have any other issue in the township, approach, either come to the meeting, approach the board, or off to the side, email us, call us, whatever. That's the way it's supposed to happen. My thought process on the way this was done, this was step one. But we had to put this resolution in by the timeline, so that we could intervene in the case if we chose to. And so we had to do this step. And then if we choose to intervene at some other point with issues, that we have to do that. And we give it to the attorney, and the attorney gives it and files it with the signing board. That's how my understanding of that is how that is.
That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Rob, would it be possible at all to pose that names question to the representing attorney? Just say, hey, the common folk are kind of having a hard time logicking through how, if we're lobbying for individual trustees, how those three individual trustees, like, they all are probably going to arrive at their own decisions, how that is actually going to work in representation, just so we can so we can feel good about it, you know, because
That they can testify. That's how this resolution does. Make sure that each of them has seen the hearings. So they wouldn't even go and, testify to the board, question anything. They have that ability to do some sensitive. If they want to have a unified statement, position, these are the things that we want to get done. They have that opportunity to do it as well. And we refer to Metro Parks. They're a natural resource based organization, so they're pretty much under the mission. It's pretty clear the things that are going to start down from a neighborhood project. So that when you talk to their board, they're going to have no direction protecting their board part and what it does to the park.
so my understanding though is that unlike what we're proposing here, is that the Metro Parks have changed the attorney. And as a board, they haven't given that attorney direction. There may be dissension among the ranks as far as the actual direction, but I'm sure through the voting process, some sort of majority would be established. And that is what the attorney would go through, represent. The board speaks in this way, the attorney would present that case. That's completely different than what we're talking about here. So it's a little confusing how that's supposed to work with. And
There's no confusion. It's that the board takes a position. Then the attorney would do this statement. If the three of them have different opinions and there's no unified position, then there's really less than one approach individuals. So there's nothing really to have someone fight for or against. And I'm not going to Steve how they feel or what they want to do forward. But this is the first step of the time to make sure they have the ability to do that.
I guess we'll just try to figure out. Pertaining to, just briefly, thank you for coming. One thing that, if I can briefly, just I like to think about when talking about these kind of projects, no matter where you're at in the community or what community you're in, it's pretty easy to understand that the people that are most directly affected are the ones that are going to be the most opposed to or have the most concern. If you were to remove every other house from, say, one of the neighborhoods by golf courses, remove every other house, put something in between all those houses that it's less desirable, the whole population would be up in arms. And similarly, if Wilson Turf, for example, on his own, decided he wanted to sign a fracking contract and it negatively affected your land, I guarantee you probably have an issue. But let's say your secondary plan was to lease up a land for a bunch of non-GMO, all natural vegetables. And then you can't exactly have that squared with a fracking operation.
Scott,
So
we're talking fracking. Is there a question for the board? What's your question?
I guess my question is, are we looking at pure volume and numbers and percentages? Are we going to be looking at
You're
who's
looking
going
at
to be
it.
most directly affected by the project?
I don't know what you're trying to get to, but I'm gonna make it a little easier for you. I think Kathy has a conflict of interest, so I don't think she can say or vote on anything.
I'm out. I can't do nothing now.
So she's got a conflict of ethics issue, in my opinion. So that saves you that she can't make a decision. So that's gonna put it up to us too. And if one of us abstains and one of us is neutral, then it goes nowhere. So I want to represent the majority of the township residents. And I want to do what's right. I want to listen to the concerns. I want to hear the concerns. And then I want to make up, what a decision is on what stance the township should have, whether it's a for or against. And I'm not there yet. I'm going to hear everything. I hear Infinity's side. I hear your guys' side. And I have made up no decision one way or another at this point. But I'm open. I'm 100% open, and I will. My indecision will be whatever I feel the majority of the township residents what direction they want to go. Now, can we make concerns? Yes, we can make concerns. There, and from what I heard from every time I have contact with Infinergy, they are open for negotiations. And they're saying that they negotiate in good faith. Now, that's what I want to see. I want to see is Infinergy negotiating in good faith. And that'll go a long way. But it's too early in the process. I don't know. I'm going to guess. I don't know this either, but I'm going to guess there's probably somebody from Infinergy online.
No?
Oh, we do have, okay.
So I want, on record, this. Everybody knows why I have to stay. Because I don't want to get rid of line in distance and everything that's going on.
I mean, honestly,
And
it sounds like the resolution was just basically allowing you guys the ability to intervene as individuals, which we can all do anyway. So, I mean, it sounds like that's basically what's going on, is that maybe with or without help of an attorney, which isn't made clear, all three of you get to intervene as you see fit, is what this resolution is basically saying, as best I can tell.
Without the resolution, you lose that opportunity. That's what the resolution is, to make sure that you start. Each of them is individual, board is a block. That's all that was conceived. So I take a position to make sure that you have an opportunity.
anyone that lives in the area can petition to be an individual intervener. So like that status is, you know, special, and it, like, they could have done it on their own. It's just, sorry. Okay. Well, good luck. Thank you.
John Harris, 1040 Moran Road.
Sorry, what's your last name?
Harrison, HARISON. I'd like to know, I mean, you're elected officials, you are to represent all the residents of this township, correct? And you said roughly there was 18,000 people. Where does it say in any wording of definition as responsibilities that an issue must be only addressed if it is a concern by a majority of the residents? I don't see anything that says that. So the comment that was made earlier, that it was only 10, not by you, one of the other speakers here said that there was only 10 or 15 people that are objecting to this and not the majority. I don't care if it's just one person. You guys represent everyone in this town, right? Now, even if only one person were to object to it and had information or evidence showing something negatively impacting, you would address it, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so if, based on the comment that was made, that, well, maybe we should just ignore, it's not you saying that. That would be saying, well, there's just 10 or 15 people that are upset, but the majority of the people are okay. No, they're not, okay? I don't agree with that. And again, show me a case where there's been a situation where an issue or conflict was occurring and 100% of the residents objected to it. To my knowledge, there's no record of anything showing like that. So there's never going to be a 100% or majority turnout of objections. Only in maybe in a vote or referendum. That's the only way you would see that. But it's something like this, no, you don't see. So, and I'm sure you've heard the old adage, 10% do the work for the other 90. I'm sure you've heard that comment before through your years as a businessman. And this is the same situation. We have 10% of us here that are probably doing the work for the other 90. There are a lot of people, I'm sure, in the villages that either one, do not know about what's going on with the solar panel project, or they do, and they don't feel as, they're not for it, but they're not willing to put a dog in the fight because it's not in their front yard. Okay, to you, Mr. Albert, no disrespect, but I've seen where the panels are going based on the projected layout. I don't see coming 100 feet within your property line or 300 feet from your home, like it is for the residents. That's why we're objecting to that. You don't feel that it's an objectionable thing. I feel that if it were showing your work, you would feel the same thing.
Hey, oh.
So I'm just,
And please,
so,
please address us.
so I'm just saying for it, I know you say you're being neutral. You said for various reasons, but I don't really know what all those reasons be. I could speculate what they are, but that doesn't mean they're the correct speculations. If it is happened to be because there's only 10 or 15 of us that are objecting to this, sir, I'm sorry, I again would have to argue with you on that is you represent all the residents of this township. So even if only 10 or 15 residents of this entire township are objecting to the same cause, I feel you guys have an obligation to put it forward to try to help us out. Now, is it up to us to try to assist you guys and trying to present evidence that shows it in a negative way? We will. I guarantee it. Is there anybody here that would? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I think I feel confident enough to speak for the people that are here for the same reason that I am, that if they had to take the time and the research to assist you guys, to provide you with the evidence so then you can go to the attorneys and say, okay, here's what's going on. I'm sure there's nobody here that would say, no, I don't want to put my time in. Because if they're here, they're willing to put the time in. So that's all I'm saying is please, I'm glad you guys passed the resolution, but please don't ask, well, there's only 10 or 15 people, and so this is really not a fight to really worth going into. I'm sorry, I disagree with that.
So, I mean, I appreciate you.
Okay, thank you. And there's a lot more than 50 people. I know it's hundreds of people, so.
All right, thank you.
Good.
My name is Jill Drexler. I've spoken to you before. And I thought you guys were with us. Now you're waffling. That's the way I look at it. There are 18,000 people in this area, but very few of them are going to be affected like we are. And the data is out there. They're gonna surround my house with 15 feet high electromagnetic pulse radiation on 3 sides of my house. I have a 100-foot well. The runoff from the panels will go into my water table, thus poisoning me. Have you made arrangements for city water and city sewers for us? You guys are gonna make a lot of money from taxes from this, and we're getting screwed. My property isn't gonna be worth anything because nobody's gonna want to build or buy in the middle of an industrial park. And I can't believe that you guys are sitting there going, well, I don't know, I haven't seen the data. It's on the internet. The World Health Organization has stated clearly that electromagnetic pulse radiation is carcinogenic. What part of that don't you understand? It's in the dictionary. If you want, I'll bring a dictionary to your next meeting. It's in the dictionary. It will cause cancer. Now, there are only a few families, I think somebody said there's 190 out of 18,000 people. Why, those 18,000 people, they're going to get tax dollars, they're going to get school dollars, they're going to get all sorts of good things. We're going to die. What part of that seems fair to you? Give me a response. What part of that seems fair? Are you going to let the 109 families get sick and die? Our water's going to be poisoned. When I go out to mow my lawn, I'm going to be irradiated if I don't go blind first from the glare. The animals in the area, the birds are going to be blinded and they'll die because basically, if they can't see, they can't eat. And the water, my well is less than 100 feet deep. And I worked for an industry in skilled trades for almost 30 years. And I can tell you that the transmission pipes will leak. And those chemicals are going to be in my groundwater. I can guarantee it. The animals will eat it. It took me 5 months for AT&T to figure out which animals were eating where on the pipes underground for AT&T. Because every time they find one that had been eaten through, then a month later another one would be eaten through and they'd have to find that one. So I can tell you the burrowing animals will have a field day with those things. The stuff that comes off the panels also is a chemical. It's a chemical reaction. That runoff is going to go into our water system. Are you planning to put city water and city sewers in? It's also going to create condensate. It's going to create extra water, so that will really overload our system. So I can't drink it. I can't bathe it. I can't sell my house. And you're telling me all of this is fair while you guys sit there and go, well, it's not affecting my house. So basically, I'm waffling on this. Do you not respond to the fact that you're killing off some of your residents? Doesn't it matter to you? Apparently not. But I want you to know it's going to matter to me. And I'll remember this.
really wasn't going to say anything. I'm a little hard of hearing. My name is Larry Chris. I live at 635 Meridian Road. Maybe this was already answered. I don't know, but I've heard you say that you're neither for, neutral, or against it. And this township has rules and regulations for everything. Yard sales, want to put a building up, you got to have for that. There's zoning rules for everything. I have tried to read all the documentation that has gone online from Invenergy on this project. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of boring pages that only people who are in the field are going to understand. The people at the Ohio Siting Board, to the best of my knowledge, they're politicians and lawyers, and they're not environmental people or electrical engineering people. They're people that have been appointed by government officials. They don't live in the area. They don't have to deal with it. So what I want to know from you guys is what information do you need from the citizens so that you can make a decision one way or the other?
I need facts. And I don't
like facts that we need, like technical facts. You want people's emotional facts, how they feel.
Oh, no, this is emotional topic. I asked a few meetings ago to Scott, I know he doesn't represent everybody, but I asked him point blank, are you trying to stop the project? And it was in a meeting, he said, no. But that's not what I'm hearing tonight. I'm hearing that there's a goal to stop the project. And nobody has approached me with their concerns, other than that they don't want to, they don't want it in their backyard.
Well, I emailed you and Doug on several occasions and heard nothing back from either one of you, so I'm kind of concerned. I haven't heard back from Rob and Kathy, but I haven't heard from you two. So I'm concerned that you're not hearing what the citizens are saying. I don't think anybody really wants to. Honestly don't think we can stop the project. It's a giant juggernaut of millions of dollars that's come along. We just want to be treated fairly. And I don't know what kind of facts that we as citizens can provide you to have you make a decision. I don't know what information to give you. I'm no engineer. I'm just Joe citizen who, when I wanted to build something, had to go see everybody within 1,000 feet of my property to find out if they objected to me putting up a little building. These people are putting up an industrial complex and none of us have any say so.
And the sad thing is, we really don't have a say so either because it's a state project.
Well, you can, as an intervener, state your position.
Okay.
And as I hear now, you guys don't have a position. You just are filing the paperwork, so you might have a position.
We can make requests for things that we'd like to see if the project does get approved. Whether or not we're for it or against it, we can still make a request and approve the project for all the neighbors if the project does get approved. We have no way of knowing if it's approved or not. But, the things that I've talked about is mounting so that the screening has a maximum impact. The planning for the one mounting that's on the opposite or project side of the mounting, just to minimize the impacts from the view shed. And things like that. So we're able to make a request. And I'm trying to understand each of you as individuals and make the same request, working on the good neighbor agreements. If there's something you'd like to have as your screening opposed to just whatever it is that you have the ability to request it. So, there are things that we can do and ask for without taking a for or against position.
But you can't have a good neighbor when you have 20 people in a row on a road, and this guy wants this kind of screening, and the neighbor then wants a different kind of screening. They can't come up with a plan because they are not talking to us as a group. They're talking to everyone as individuals and pitting us against each other. And offering people different amounts of money or hush money, basically what it is. You sign the agreement, you can't complain about it. That concerns me. Thank you for your time.
My name's Janine Lovejoy and I live on Cabin Croft Drive. We've lived there 35 years when we first went in. That was our whole point, was to move out in the country, away from all. Now you guys are bringing it to us. How many more vehicles, everything's gonna be out there, the noise, everything. We went out there to be more in the country. We love it there. We love Prairie Township. We love what you guys do. Okay, this is the first time you've seen me at one of your meetings. And why? It's because we're really concerned about what's going on. Is it not okay if we all say, no, we don't want this project? Please stop it. Who do we say that to? If we can't trust you guys, that's why we're here. That's why you're trustees. Okay. What I'm concerned about is I didn't know anything about this till like March. I'm like, what? What's going on? Well, my neighbors told me they were only up in the cul-de-sac are the only ones that got packages from that company. Yeah, okay, so we're like, what are you talking about? I've never heard of such a thing. So for us, we only got word of it like in March. That last meeting is the first time we got word of it. So I know there's a slew more of people just like me that had no idea. And I really think if there's 180 people or 5,000, we all should be aware of what's going on. I'm sorry. I talk with my girls too. Anyways, I think that's my concern, is that we all didn't know what was going on. Had I known back when they got packages in the middle of November, I would have been on it. So I think that's unfair to the residents, because what you're seeing is a small group, but there's a whole bunch of us out there that had no idea. Now, I'm not saying ignorance is okay. I mean, we don't get newspapers anymore, you know what I mean? And I get the Prairie Township thing, but when you look at it, you're like, okay, when's the park gonna open or what's going on with that? I had no idea, and I know ignorance is not an excuse, but I think there's a lot more residents out there that feel the same way we do. And is it wrong if we say, we do want to stop this? I mean, really, we really want to stop this. I mean, I don't know, because I know you said it sounds like we want to stop this. I really feel these people and us want to stop it. And why don't they move it another 50 or 100 miles out where all you see is farmland? Yeah. You know, you're not on Alpine Road and Murnane with all the people. That's what we're saying is we don't. If I could get solar on my house, I would. Can we get that from this company? Give us discounts? Is there going to be a discount on our electric? No. We, the homeowners, get nothing except, and I love Southwestern schools. I voted to replace all their buildings. We're all for it. Because the more we do for our students, it makes our whole community better. We're all for them. But what I don't understand is, why is it brought here? Why don't you move it on out? So this is our concern. We don't know who to tell our concerns to except our trustees, because we trust you. And if there's a meeting that we could, all the people that are affected in this should get a letter in the mail and say, by the way, did you know this was going on? We're going to have a meeting. Let's get together and discuss it. But I really think that's what we need, because if you guys really are for us, we don't want this. But thank you. We do value what we do. We love Prairie County. That's why we're here. That's why, look how, get an estimate on how many people still live in Prairie Township. I retired from Scott's. I drove that every day because I didn't want to live there. My husband retired from Honda. He drove it every day. We did not want to move to Marysville. We wanted to stay in Prairie Township. So make us happy. You've always made us happy. Been here. You guys are great. We appreciate it. We appreciate our law enforcement. We appreciate the fire department. We voted to get more fire department on the issues. We love them. So love us back.
Hey, you follow the meeting rules, please. Would you like to respond to anything you heard tonight?
Josh Ray Highway with Energy.
You pull your mask down.
Sure. Josh Ray Highway with Energy. I've taken some detailed notes about some of the concerns and some of the topics that have come up tonight, so I can work on coming up with some responses that we can disseminate to the constituents and to you folks to have that information. Again, we as Invenergy stand ready to listen to concerns and work with folks on their concerns and come up with custom good neighbor agreements. We certainly have a template that we can start from, off of, but again, certainly willing to work on other arrangements or coordination that we can enter into with the township or individual folks. So again, we stand ready to run through the project's due diligence. We stand ready to coordinate with the OPSB that does have environmental scientists on staff, civil engineers on staff, and staff that dive into some of the complex development topics that are involved with a project. So again, however I can make myself available, please let me know.
Can I ask you a question? How would you proceed a meeting?
I think it would be wise to send out a notification of a public meeting to the affected residents, to the entire township. That might be a little more difficult to manage. But I think that a meeting would certainly be beneficial for you to be able to hear the residents' concerns. If Invenergy was there or anyone that's there representing the project, welcome that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. The board is to be able to come to a decision on how you feel about the project and what type of intervention the township wants to take.
You got a projection. How many people do you think would attend? I mean, that's the hard question to what's
60, 70, maybe. I would imagine township, when we had the prior meeting, we still had plenty of room for individuals to attend. There's more awareness of the project now, it might be a little bit more, but I think the township rec center at the gym, the way we were spread out there before, was pretty effective.
It's about 26 cents.
Yeah. And a little easier at two seats too.
doable, Michael?
Yeah, depends on the date.
Is there, what's the, what would be a good day for a meeting?
So just anytime that we could get at least some advance notice to the individuals, with at least a week's notice. 2 weeks would be better. And I would assume any evening, this is a good time, and certainly individuals will get home from work and be able to come. Centers up generally till about 9 o'clock. 7 to 9, I would think should be sufficient to answer questions and people write some stuff up to them.
Tuesday evenings will be open. Tuesday evenings
It's best as far as being open and up further.
over at the community center.
Yeah, so let us work on that. We have to come up with some kind of notice.
They do Facebook and then website.
So we get direct mail, if we have addresses of.
Yeah. I don't know what your requirements are legally, as far as having to announce it.
In 48 hours.
Yeah. Acceptable formats are now.
Yeah, what we have to do is really stick a notice on having your home.
Okay.
If you do want the library, there's a courtesy, and you do something for your fire station.
Certainly, no part of it can send that. Once it's posted, we can forward that.
There's so many people our age that don't do this. I just don't think that's very good. A lot of them don't even. That doesn't know.
We could do something along the lines, the people that are directly affected, immediate area gets mailed a letter and everybody else gets some other kind of notification.
Just think of how to get it out.
But I don't know the timeline of the case either, when.
The last time I talked. And the reason the timeline is flexible, most of the steps in 60 to 90 days is on a set date.
It would be nice to get major concerns and what would be, what they are. Kind of like what Metro Parks did.
Sure.
I mean, you could probably almost take Metro Parks.
That's a lot of them.
Yeah,
That list includes a lot of our concerns.
but there's probably a few things on there that affect Metro Parks and not. Well, let us work on that.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like it? Yes.
What do you mean, else possible for this meeting to have? What we didn't see there, answers some questions. And also.
And also what?
Also, it might be.
Oh, yeah, that's given like them. The legals, I'd have to look and see what his schedule is, but it's possible. Anything else on solar? Yes.
Good evening, honorable board members. My name is Wojtek Zaleski. I live at 4756 Hilton Avenue. And I agree with the government seated to the left of me, that resolution 1621 is good, but we need more. We need a meeting where we address specific details that are of concern to residents and what the township position of those details should be. If I lived anywhere near that neighborhood, I would have three concerns. Number one, the water runoff. Number two, what the lady you mentioned, the electromagnetic pulsing. And number three, the sector, the distance between the panels and my backyard. Those are my issues that I would like addressed if I lived anywhere near that area. So I strongly feel that we need a meeting and we need to address the issues that I just mentioned, as well as any other issues that the people in that neighborhood may have. Another point I would like to make is that, the people who live right in that neighborhood, I don't think they are the only ones concerned. A lot of other people like me who are concerned about their well-being. I live on Hilton Avenue. I am nowhere near the site of the project. I am, as a township resident, I am concerned with their well-being. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. So the people who live in the immediate vicinity are not the only ones concerned about this project. I hear a number of allegations that a lot of stop the project. I personally don't think that it should be stopped. I feel that specific issues need to be addressed and resolved in a manner that would be acceptable to the residents who live in that immediate area. And also, I have one specific question for Mr. Smelter. Could you please explain to us why are you out officially and on the record?
Because I live on the main road. And my property is too close in distance to where they want to put the project. That's all I'm saying.
So due to the fact that you live there, you are required to not to be involved? Is that what the requirement is?
I'm sorry, I can't.
Are you saying that due to the fact that you live in that immediate area and you may have an interest one way or the other, you are required to be out?
Correct.
Yes, as an elected official, it's a conflict of interest due to proximity for the visit if she is taking property.
And then it goes to the ethics. If I get involved.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll move on to old business. Is there any old business?